The idea behind Novecento was born in a rather unusual way, by watching Baz Luhrmann's The Great Gatsby. Ever since high school I've had a deep interest in Art Nouveau and Art Deco. The film prompted me to rethink this style. I paged through books and surfed the internet extensively, and came to the conclusion that I had to use materials taken from the past but perceived as contemporary at the same time. Brass and marble came to mind as the most logical, almost inevitable choices. From the point of view of design, I chose two basic shapes, triangles and circles, as a key to my project. This would give a personal touch to an otherwise obvious imitation of Art Deco items. So I started working on my project. I designed a lamp with a thick disc of marble, impressive looking and statuesque, which seems suspended in the air but actually communicates in visual terms with a thin brass framework that supports it. To make it more contemporary, I decided that the source should be LEDs. This technology enabled me to maintain a clean and light design, since I didn't have to allow for the extra room needed for a light bulb. This has naturally brought on some limitations as regards costs and the time needed for implementation, but I believe that the technological component must, so to speak, yield to design, especially as far as lighting is concerned. Nicolet Marmi is one of the companies that helped me. They have given me prompt support in the processing of marble. The company has been handed down from father to son and has been present in Padova for more than 50 years. The marbles for the lamp have been chosen for reasons of style and viability. The marbles had to express Art Deco taste but at the same time be easily available. Many types of Italian marble in fact no longer exist or are very difficult to find because the quarries have meanwhile been closed. For these reasons I selected Nero Marquinia and Bianco di Carrara. On special occasions, such as for the limited edition of Novecento on Mixta, I have used other rarer types of marble. The discs are made from 2 to 3 cm thick slabs of marble. The circular cutter rotates over the slab and is then able to slowly cut the piece. The whole process occurs under a constant stream of water that prevents overheating of the material and removes dust. Once it has been cut, the disc is dressed and polished. The disc is patiently finished off and polished up by hand, first the sides and then the front. As a finishing touch, the edges are smoothed so that they form a 45 degrees angle instead of 90 degrees. No chemical compound is used, only machinery and skilled craftsmanship. Near Treviso, I then found the right company to work with for the realization of the custom-made brass structure and LED components. Glip is a young and inspired company that has always focused on technological innovation applied to lighting. Thanks to their expertise, we have identified the best LED source that would ensure the best light and atmosphere and enhance Novecento. Nothing was left to chance. Even the heat sink, a key element to ensure the LED's long life, was chosen and carefully worked, so that it could give a touch of technology without ruining the allure of Novecento. In their workshop, we also developed the brass structure. A skilled craftsman with more than 30 years of experience folds the brass rod by hand at room temperature without having to heat the material. In order to be more accurate, he uses a template that helps the folding of the piece. The peculiarity of Novecento is that each piece is unique, that is different from any other piece. Brass is a fascinating material but much harder to work and weld compared with iron or steel. Perfect accuracy is unattainable, but I think this typical capricious behavior of brass makes each Novecento even more special, a personal creation of the artisan. I have favored brass over other metals because I wanted a noble material. I could have used another metal and then finished it off to imitate brass, but I prefer the genuine features of a material to show. The final touch to Novecento is the label that guarantees its authenticity. This is usually a neglected element because it is often difficult to see on the back of products. I wanted to be consistent with the whole project, so I decided to design this element properly too. In Padova, in the old town, under one of its typical medieval arcades, I found a place for me, Becchi, a family business that has occupied the same fascinating workshop since 1952. They specialize in the processing of plates, even smaller ones as in the case of Novecento. Again, I decided to use brass. A thin plate is engraved by a drill electronically controlled by a computer according to the design required. Once the engraving process is over, the craftsman enamels the engraved letters. Then he polishes the surface and smooths the sharp edges to make the plate safer and more beautiful. No detail is overlooked here. Novecento is a lamp in which every detail has been taken care of, each material carefully selected and designed. Every person who has worked on it has a long family history. Every single element that composes it is for me like a little jewel that enhances the project as a whole. I have really learnt a lot from this experience, as well as see firsthand how they produce the various components. I must thank the artisans we have in Italy, who are still willing to listen to a young designer and allow him to stay with them in the workshop to learn.